Right, the sutta for our study today is entitled Dhatu Vibhanga Sutta. This is towards the end of the Majjhima Nikaya, middle length sayings. In this chapter, the suttas all deal with analysis. Vibhanga means analysis. Dhatu means elements. Dhatu Vibhanga, analysis of the elements. M140. This is found in SD, Sutta Discovery, 4.17, chapter 4, Sutta 17. It is a very beautiful story about a king. He's probably an old king, and he became very good friends with King Bimbisara. That means this story is quite early in the Buddha's life. So they never met. That's the interesting thing. They never met. And of course, this king, his name is Pukusati, also never met the Buddha. So Bimbisara, they communicated with each other, became good friends. And one day, this king is in Afghanistan. Can you imagine how far away that is? Okay, Afghanistan, Takashila. Okay, so they've been exchanging gifts, and then one day this king Pukusati sent something very precious to Bimbisara, but then Bimbisara didn't have anything at that time with him. So he decided to give a very special present. He sent him news about the Buddha. So he wrote something very beautiful about the Buddha on a gold sheet. He said, well, the Buddha has arisen in the world and so on and so forth. Now, the good thing is Pukusati is ready. So when he read this golden letter, he's very happy. In fact, he's so happy to hear about the Buddha, he decided to renounce the world. So in the cover picture of today's session, you see this man dressed in white. So he renounced the world, leaves Takashila, comes to India. He wants to go to Savatthi to meet the Buddha. By that time, the Buddha had left Savatthi. So he had to travel all the way. And it was night, so he has to stay in a potter's shed. So our story starts there in the potter's shed. So this story of traveling, meeting the Buddha, you find this quite another story you find in other stories also, like in the case of Bahiya, right, and so on. So this is a story about how this man who has never met the Buddha discovers his teacher, the teacher is the Buddha. Let's see what happens. So because this is quite a long sutta, so we will probably use all our time given here. All right, let's look at the sutta now. Let's go down to page 178, I think. Yeah, there it is. Dhatu Vibhanga Sutta, the Discourse on the Analysis of the Elements, M140. So we can guess from this title what the Buddha taught Pukusati. The Buddha taught this on analysis of the elements. And the effect is really dramatic. I'm not going to spoil it. Let's wait to see what happens in the end. Thus have I heard at one time, the Blessed One was wandering or peregrinating means wandering on a pilgrimage in Magadha country in stages on a teaching tour. So he was not in Savatthi, he was moving around, and he is in due course, he arrived in Rajagaha, where he approached the potter Bhagawa. Having approached the potter Bhagawa, he said to him, if it is no trouble to you, may I stay for one night on your premises? Bhante, said the potter, it's no trouble at all, but there is a renunciant who has arrived there first. If he allows you, Bhante, please stay as you please. All right. So notice here, there is a lot of courtesy here. The Buddha, although he is Buddha, he still politely asks the potter, say, may I stay there in the shed at night? Now the thing is, there's a lot of background here. We're not told this, where the commentaries are helpful. Why did the Buddha come to the potter's shed? Of course, the commentary often will tell us the Buddha knew about Pukusati, so has come purposely to stay in the potter's shed to meet Pukusati. But from this story, you find, if you take the story as it is, the two never met. The Buddha and Pukusati never met, and it is as if by accident the Buddha comes to the potter's shed and then meets this renunciant. He renounced himself. He's not a full monk yet. In fact, in the picture in front of our advertisement today, you see he's dressed in white. And then his citizens, the people under him, they were begging him not to go away. So we have this scenario. It's the potter's shed, and it is evening. All right. So this, what has happened is Pukusati has gone all the way to Savatthi, only to know Buddha was not there. So he has come back to look for the Buddha here. Okay. So let's look at verse 3 now. So this one is a storyteller, the narrator telling us, now there was a son of family named Pukusati who had gone forth from the household into homelessness out of faith in the Blessed One. Out of faith in the Blessed One. Notice that. At that time, he was the first one to take up residence there. So he was the one staying in the potter's shed. So there is this decorum, you know, since in ancient times among holy men. So since he was the first one, the Buddha will ask him permission. Now let's look at next section now. Then the Blessed One went up to the Venerable Pukusati. Having gone up to the Venerable Pukusati, he said this, Bhikshu. Notice the Buddha calls him Bhikshu, right? Just a hint that the Buddha can see that this Pukusati has some good qualities, right? So Bhikshu, if it is no trouble to you, may I stay on these premises for one night? Then Pukusati replies, the potter's premises are spacious, Avuso. So he calls the Buddha Avuso, which is like friend, you know, this is a common term among equals. The Venerable One may stay here as he pleases, all right? So he doesn't know it's the Buddha. Right? So this part can be quite amusing. You see, he's probably an old king. He's now a renunciant, and then there's the Buddha. Then the Blessed One, having entered the potter's premises, spread a mat of grass at one end and sat down and sat on it. Having crossed his legs and keeping his body upright, he established mindfulness before him, right? So he went into meditation. Then the Blessed One spent most of the night sitting, all right? Sitting here, of course, in meditation. But meditation is not mentioned in particular because the Buddha was also watching Pukusati. The Venerable Pukusati too spent the night sitting, right? So they were both sitting, kind of resting, doing a bit of meditation sometimes, and they're going to communicate. So this is where the Buddha learns about the goodness of another person by simply watching and the other person is doing nothing, sitting down peacefully. 4.3, then it occurred to the Blessed One. Now, indeed, this son of family conducts himself in a faith-inspiring manner. What if I were to question him, right? So here, so this is the Buddha's thought, all right? So you might ask, how do we know this? Well, the Buddha related this sutta to Ananda, right? In the first line, thus have I heard. So Ananda is what's called the omniscient narrator. Ananda knows all sides, who's thinking what and who's going to say what, right? So the Buddha said, wow, this person is very calm and really worthy of respect. Let me talk to him. Then the Blessed One said to said this to Pukusati, Bhikshu, on whose account have you gone forth? Who is your teacher? Whose teaching do you profess? Okay, this typical question the Buddha would ask, or we as lay people can also ask when we first meet a monk. Okay, we normally ask where are you from, right? But actually, we should ask who is your teacher. How many years have you been? How many reigns? How many years have you been a monk? These are things we should ask. No? So, if the monk is 5 years or less, he should not be wandering around. He should be with the teacher, right? If it's more than 5 years, then it's okay. We can talk to him. If you say he's less than 5 years, then it's better you don't talk to him. That means he has broken the Nisaya. He has not been keeping the 5-year tutelage with the teacher. He's wandering about alone. It's not very good. Anyway, so here the Pukusati's reply is very interesting. So it's the beginning of this wonderful conversation. So, Bhikshu, on whose account have you gone for? Who's your teacher? Whose teaching do you profess? And then Pukusati replies, there is also the recluse Gotama, a Sakya son who has gone forth from the Sakya clan. And concerning this blessed one, a fair report has been spread about, right? Itibiso Bhagawa Arahang. So this is the verse, famous verse. So he knows all this, he knows about the Buddha. 5.3, it is to that blessed one I have gone forth. It is that blessed one who is my teacher. It is the teaching of the blessed one I profess. Now this is called a declaration of faith. Okay, so you see this Pukusati having great faith. He's telling the Buddha, Sakyamuni, Gautama, Bhagavad doesn't know that he's talking to the very same person, right? Then this is the interesting part, you see. So here, in a way, we don't know what the Buddha's thought is right here, but this can be interpreted as humor, the gentle humor, or the Buddha, there's something big is going to happen here, because the rest of the sutta is going to depend on this non-declaration by the Buddha that he is Buddha. This is what's amazing. He doesn't declare it to this man who believes, who's looking for the Buddha. He tells Pukusati, he asks, where is this blessed one now? And where Bhikshu does the blessed one, the self-awakened one, reside? So it's as if he wants to make sure, are we talking about the same Buddha, right? But I think it's kind of slightly humorous here, if you like. Okay, so we can quote this in our essay on humor coming soon. So let's see what happens next. So Pukusati replies, he says, also, there is a town named Sawati in a district to the north. That blessed one, the Arahat, Buddhist awakened one, is residing there. Okay, so sorry, just now I told you he went to Sawati. Actually, it's not. He's on the way there. See? Now the Buddha questions him, and Bhikshu, have you seen the blessed one before? And if you were to meet him, would you recognize him? Again here, why does Buddha ask this question? He wants to make sure that this Pukusati is actually talking about him, see, that he wants to really be a student. So Pukusati says, no, indeed, I have not seen the blessed one before. And if I were to meet him, I would not recognize him. Well, he has come all the way from Takasila, from Taxila in Afghanistan, so he's never met the Buddha. Then the Blessed One thought, this son of family has gone forth from the household into homelessness on my account. But if I were to teach him Dhamma, right? So after all, what's there to be done? Someone has renounced in the Buddha's name. Obviously, the Buddha should teach him Dhamma. Now, imagine a situation for a while. There could be another scenario where the Buddha says, oh, it's me, and then this Pukusati bows down, is very happy. Or then again, he might say, oh, it can't be you, you still look young. This is the early part of the Buddha's life. But the Buddha chose not to reveal himself. We'll find out why the Buddha does not reveal himself. The Buddha gives the Dhamma to Pukusati first. So the Buddha starts the teaching. The teaching starts here, beginning with the nature of a person. All right. Okay. First, you have the summary of the analysis of elements. This summary actually is very long. It covers the whole teaching, in fact. Right. So what we call it a summary. Actually, it's very, in a sense, it's quite basic. The key teachings are there, and then the Buddha will elaborate on it a little later. All right. Then the Blessed One addressed the Venerable Pukusati, Bhikshu, I will teach you the Dhamma, listen to it and pay close attention, I will speak. Only when the person is ready, the Buddha will say this. And then Pukusati says, yes, I will so. Again, he doesn't say Bante, he says, I will so. He's very respectful. The Venerable Pukusati replied in essence to the Blessed One. The Blessed One said this. All right, this is the actual summary is this one, the syllabus, if you like. This person, this body of ours is made up of the 6 elements, the 6 sense bases, the 6 bases of contact, the 18 elemental investigations, and the 4 foundations, okay, of Arahathood. Notice I put the Pali words whenever I can, when there is space, so that we know the word foundations here is aditana, all right? And then you can see the references in the sutta and paragraph numbers. So this teaching has got 4 parts, all right? Then the Buddha starts by his teaching 7.2. Those who stand on them, on the 4 foundations, or those who stand in them, do not go with the flow of mental conceiving. The mind doesn't wander here, wander there. Not flowing with mental conceiving, one is called a sage at peace. Muni, Santo. Santo means at peace. No? Muni is the silent sage. Now the Buddha continues, 7.3. Okay, here again the Buddha lists the 4 important points in his teaching. Wisdom should not be neglected. The truth should be guarded. Letting go should be cultivated. One should indeed train for peace of mind. Why did the Buddha choose these 4 topics? There's always some interconnection within the teachings. So if you look here, this 4, you can see a pattern like that of the Four Noble Truths, if you like. So first is in terms of practice, in the sense that you see something out there, there is suffering, so you want to say, okay, I want to be free of this suffering. So wisdom here means what you learn from the world outside. Keep learning, don't give up. You're doing that, you're all doing that right now. You're building up your wisdom, panya, okay? Okay, nya is to know. So pa here is like you go on putting in the effort. Then number 2, there is this truth. You begin to notice things. Oh, this how suffering arises, for example, right? And then you guard this, remember this. You guard it by remembering it. So this becomes the truth. Now, it is very interesting here is that wisdom is what you see correctly, and then the truth appears to you. And what does the truth make you do? So that's number 3. You let go. You let go of the past, let go of negative emotions, let go of defilements. You cultivate this. This is the path. Okay. And then comes the peace. Line 4. One should train for peace of mind. So peace of mind refers to nirvana. Of course, in this case, the arrangement is 1, 2, 4, 3. Now, is this the old style of the Four Noble Truths sequence found in the Maha Salayatana Sutta, for example, and I think 148. So this is the summary of the analysis of the elements. All right, so the analysis is just this part, all right, but it has a lot of deep teachings. And then the Buddha starts elaborating on this, and it ends in section 32, right? So just to tell you, so there's the whole teaching ends in up to section 32 from section 8. And Pukusati listens in total silence, all right? So now the Buddha begins, the Buddha is talking about who is this person? What is this person really? He's made up of the 6 elements. What are the 6 elements? So this is where you saw the beautiful diagram, 6 elements drawn in the very nice, beautiful, colorful way by Ratna. Okay, first of all, the 6 elements, let me show you. You have earth, water, fire, wind, and then consciousness and space, all right? Now we'll come back to all this as we go. I will mention more as we go along. So here you can see section 8 is all mentioned there, all right? So this is the beginning. Probably the king is quite familiar with this, so that the Buddha begins something familiar. And then 9, Bhikshu, this person is made up of the 6 bases of contact. So it is said. And in what connection is this said? The base of eye contact, the base of ear contact, the base of nose contact, the base of tongue contact, the base of body contact, the base of mind contact. So why did the Buddha give 2 teachings? In section 8, the Buddha is talking about the physical body. So, okay, this physical body is made up of these 4 elements: earth, water, fire, wind, and that is the body. And then consciousness is the mind. Okay, so the Buddha could have used the model of the 5 aggregates, for example, right? So for aggregates, you have form, that is the body, and then 4 aspects, the other 4, feeling, perception, formation, consciousness, are the mind. But here is the other way around, okay? The body made up of 4 elements, and then the mind only 1, that is consciousness. Now space is all around, also inside us. So here, the Buddha doesn't often use the 6 elements, but in this case, because the king is quite wise enough, so the Buddha taught him the 6 elements. Only mention, it doesn't go into much detail, but interconnected with other teachings. Then in section 9, the basis of 6 bases of contact. Here, contact refers to the senses, the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. Here also 6. Okay, so how we experience things. So context means the internal senses connect with the external senses. We are aware of it. We are attention is there, so contact arises, and there is experience. So this is the body in number 8, which is interacting with the world, number 9, right? So this is the second part. The Buddha is talking about the body in action. And then let's look at next section now. The 18 investigations. So what the mind does. How do we get 18 investigations? Bhikshu, this person is made up of 18 of the 18 investigations. So it is said. In what connection is this said? So what are the 18 investigations? You can already guess, there are the 6 senses, so times 3. So what are the 3? So look at Roman number 1, you will see there are 3 things there. On seeing a form with the eye, one investigates the form that is the basis for joy. One investigates the form that is the basis for grief, mental pain. One investigates the form that is a basis for equanimity. All right. Right here the Buddha is talking about mental investigation, and that's how the mind feels. So there are only 3 feelings here: mental joy, mental grief, and the last one is equanimity. All right. Notice not neutral feeling. The Buddha uses here equanimity, and there's a reason for this, right? Pukusati is wise enough, and the Buddha is using this term equanimity. Is going to repeat this a few times later on. It normally means your mind is just calm and balanced-minded, but later on the meaning deepens. As we go along the sutta, the meaning deepens into meditation, into jhana, and so on. We will notice that in a while. Here, what you should note is, we want to know what are the 6 teachings here. There is 1 to 6 here. So the first one is I, or this is quite, you can quite guess quite quickly. If it is the eye, next one is the ear. Oh, okay, these are the 6 sense doors. Eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. Okay, the last one you can see, Roman number 6 is the mind. So these are the 6 sense bases. Each of the 6 sense bases, depending on how it investigates the experiences that happen to it, or how we experience whatever happens to us, we will have we will respond in 3 ways. Of course, here the Buddha is talking about a happy situation, a wise situation in the case of Pukusati. So Pukusati, if he experiences something good, he feels as joyful. This is a form which is, say, happy form. The teacher feels happy. But if it's something which is not good, there is grief, right? And then there is, the third one is neither. So you have neither good nor bad. You have equanimity, balanced-mindedness. So here the Buddha doesn't say neutral feeling, it says balanced-mindedness, equanimity. Because here we're talking about someone whose mind is meditative, who knows what's going on with these 3 kinds of feelings. So this is a teaching on the 3 kinds of feelings. The words are different, but the teachings is the same about the 3 kinds of feeling in each of the 6 senses. All right. Since you all know these words very well, we have been reading these words again and again in many suttas. I'm explaining this in a modern, what's called tribal tradition, a reading tradition. All right. So there you are. Those are the 18 investigations. This is what we often do in daily life. Thus, there are the 6 investigations of joy, 6 investigations of grief, the 6 investigation of equanimity. Bhikshu, this person is made up of the 18 investigations. So it is said in this connection. All right. So this is the person. Now the Buddha goes a little deeper. The Buddha goes straight into how do we work to attain liberation in this life itself. The 4 foundations. Bhikshu, this person is made up of the 4 foundations for gaining arahathood. So it is said. And in what connection is this said? Right? And so the Buddha asks this rhetorical question, and then he answers, Bhikshu, there are 4 things. Wisdom, the foundation of wisdom, the foundation of truth, the foundation of letting go, the foundation of peace. Right? So here again, notice, as I told you earlier on, you can see more or less the model of the Four Noble Truths being used here, right? Wisdom is the first truth, knowing the world as it is. And when you understand that, the reality of life, then that is the truth. You know the arising of suffering. So 1 and 2 are the meaning of life. So once you know the meaning of life, 3 and 4 are the purpose of life. Purpose of life, number 3, to let go, letting go. And this is what Pukusati has done. He has renounced the world. You know, that's the wonderful thing. And now the last part, he only needs to find the last part, and this sutta will tell you how he got this last part, the foundation of peace, referring to awakening. So here, if you look at the Pali word upasamaditthana, upasama, sama, notice the middle component, sama, you find the word in samadhi, samatha. Of course, in the word sama meaning same, sama also means to settle in peace. Upasama means to do it in a close way with the mind, to bring this peacefulness really close up to you into deep meditation. Here it refers to practicing meditation right up to awakening to nirvana. All right. So the Buddha continues. It's going to talk about the first meditation, first foundation now, further down. Let's go down a bit more. Yeah, okay. Here you are. And Bhikshu, how is wisdom not neglected? There are, Bhikshus, the 6 elements. The earth element, water element, fire element, wind element, or air, space element, consciousness. All right. So how do you not neglect wisdom? By knowing what the 6 elements are. So now the Buddha is going to go into this familiar teaching. Let's look at it. Okay, 14. And what Bhikshu is the earth element? Basically, the characteristics hardness. The earth element may be internal or may be external. And Bhikshu, whatever it is hard, solid, solidified, or rigid, and clung to internally, separately, belonging to oneself, namely head hair, body hair, nail, teeth, skin. All right. Okay, let's look at this first 5. These first 5 are very, very famous. Notice in this first 5, the last one is skin. So this is called the skin 5. Okay, in Indian reckoning, they use the last element, so skin 5. In Pali is tacha panchaka. Tacha is skin. Very easy to remember. Tacha in English is touch, right? So in Pali is tacha. T-A-C-A, tacha. Okay. Panchaka means number 5. Skin is number 5. So this is the first meditation that all the monks learn when they become a monk. On their ordination day, their teacher will explain this to them. So you must, now that you're a monk, you must do this meditation. Okay. So the Buddha here, number 1, explains in general theory what is earth element, and then it gives examples in the body, head, hair, body hair, nail, teeth, skin. Those are earth element. Flesh, sinews, bones, bone marrow, kidneys, earth element. Okay. Let's go down some more. Heart, liver, membranes around the lungs, spleen, lungs. Okay, so you go further down the middle part of the body, heart, liver, membranes around the lungs, spleen, lungs, large intestine, small intestine, stomach contains dung. Okay, so there's another set there. So then, or whatever that is hard, solid, solidified, and clung to internally, separately, this picture is called the internal earth element. This is what we are, right? So notice that the Buddha is teaching this new person, first lesson in Dhamma. This is what we really are. 4 elements, starting with earth. 14.2. And whatever is the internal earth element, whatever is the external earth element, is simply earth element, hardness. Now this sounds familiar. Remember in one of our lessons, Maharaholo Vada Sutta, the Buddha said the same thing, right? We reflect on internal earth element, external earth element, they are the same earth element. So you see this connection all around. Okay. And that should be seen as it really is with right wisdom thus. This is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. Letting go, renouncing even this earth element. Not owning it. Not owning doesn't mean throwing it away. We still have earth element in us. But we say this is not mine, I don't own it, I have no control over it. This I am not, this is not myself. It's just there, and it's changing all the time, Having seen it as it really is, with right wisdom thus, one is revolves towards the earth element, detached, dispassionate towards the earth element. So revolves, very powerful word here, meaning shocked. You don't have anything to do with it, because you say, wow, this earth element, it doesn't last, it lasts only a moment, it doesn't last very long. So what's the big deal here? I'm not going to get carried away by it. So this is the detachment. You know it's there, but you are not going to embrace it or want it. It's just like you're walking along a dangerous pathway. You walk very mindfully. You don't want to fall into left or right into this very narrow bridge across a high ravine. So you walk very mindfully because it's very dangerous either way you fall, right? So that's the earth element. Water element. What bhikshu is the water element? The characteristic is cohesion, The water element may be internal, may be external, right? Water inside us, water outside. And what bhikshu is the internal water element? Bhikshu, whatever that is water, watery, and clung to internally, separately belonging to oneself, namely, okay, these are examples of water element in our body: bile, phlegm, pus, blood, sweat. So this is called the fat six, the fat sestet. Okay, there's 6 things here. So the last one is fat. So why this all got special name? Because you're supposed to memorize them when you do the meditation. Yeah. Then second set, tears, skin grease or tallow, saliva, snot, oil of joints, urine. Okay. So here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Urine 6. Urine says that also, right? Okay, let's go further down. Or whatever else that is water, watery, clung to internally separately. This bhikshu is called internal water element. And whatever is internal water element, whatever is the external water element, is simply water element. Right? And that should be seen as it really is. Right wisdom does, this is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. So the same as if we let go of it. We don't own this. We see as it is. Having seen it as it really is, with right wisdom does, one is revolves towards the water element, detached, dispassionate towards the water element. Now fire element. Okay, next one. What bhikshu is the fire element or heat? The fire element may be internal, it may be external. And what is the internal water element? Bhikshu, whatever that is fire, fiery, and clung to internally, and separately belonging to oneself, namely that by which one is warmed, when you feel warm, okay? Ages. So decay, this is a very important aspect, right? Decaying is also part of fire. And burns, you get fever, right? When you're sick, you can feel the temperature, so that also is heat. And that by which what is eaten, drunk, chewed, and tasted gets completely digested. Now notice the Buddha is aware of all this, right? It's something quite scientific. So this is the digestive process. And whatever else that is fire, fiery, clung to internally, separately belonging to oneself. This picture is called the internal fire element. And whatever is the internal fire element and whatever is the external fire element is simply the fire element. And that should be seen as it really is with right wisdom. Thus, this is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. I've highlighted this, but it's something very important to remember, to let go of it. And if you do this in this way, do this properly, having seen it as it really is, with right wisdom thus, one is revolves towards the fire element. You see as it is, you will not be carried away by it. And so you feel detached towards the fire element. You will not be taken away with lust and desire because of this fire element. And then you have the wind element. And what bhikshu is the wind element? Motion. The wind element may be internal or may be external. And what bhikshu is the internal wind or air element? Bhikshu, whatever that is wind or airy, wind-like, clung to internally, separately, namely upgoing winds, downgoing winds. Upgoing winds is like when you burp, breathing out. Downgoing wind is when you're breathing in, the gas going to your stomach. Winds in the belly, right? Winds in the chest. Of course, it's the air you breathe in, wind in the chest. Winds in the cause through the limbs. So this is a very ancient belief. You find this comes to Chinese medicine also, the wind inside the body. In breath and out breath. So that's the wind element. Okay. Then let's go further down. Or whatever else that is wind-like and clung to internally, separately belonging to oneself. This picture is called the internal wind element. And whatever is the internal wind element, whatever is the external wind element, is simply the wind element. And that should be seen as it really is, with right wisdom thus. This is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. Having seen it as it really is, with right wisdom thus, one is revolved towards the wind element, detached towards the wind element. Right? So we take it as it is, and we don't get carried away by it. Now, let me finish a bit more, okay? Then we have a break. So those are the 4 elements. That's the body. Now, the space element. This is something I think very new. Most of us have not studied, right? Section 18. And what bhikshu is the space element? The space element may be internal or may be external. And what bhikshu is the internal space element? Bhikshu, whatever is space, spatial, and clung to internally, separately, belonging to oneself, namely the ear canals, the nostrils, the mouth cavity, that means inside your mouth, and that opening whereby what is eaten, drunk, taken, and tasted is swallowed. This is your, in other words, alimentary canal, and where it collects, right in the stomach, and whereby it is excreted from below, okay? So these are all the space in your body. And whatever else that is space, spatial, clung to internally, separately, this bhikshu is called the internal space element. And whatever is the internal space element, whatever is the external space element, is simply the space element. And that should be seen as it really is, with right wisdom thus. This is not mine, this I'm not, this is not myself. Having seen it as it really is, with right wisdom thus, one is revolved towards the space element and detached towards the space element as part of the body now. So this is where we look at the body as it is. Okay, I'm going to stop here for a while, then we continue with the consciousness element. So don't miss this, come back on time, 5 minutes from now.
Thank you, Brother Piya. We'll take the 5 minutes break now.
Okay. All right, that's good. Okay, let's resume. Everyone ready? So now we go into element 6, consciousness element. This is something I don't remember talking about this because this is quite a difficult one. What is the 6th element, consciousness element? Then there remains only consciousness. Here meaning the Buddha said, okay, I've given you the 5 elements. So this is the last one, number 6, purified and cleansed. Notice the Buddha is not just talking about consciousness, talking about the consciousness that is purified and cleansed. That means this person, if you understand the nature of the elements and doing your meditation, you are not attached to anything, your mind will be purified and cleansed. What does one know or what cognize with that consciousness? So here the Buddha is presenting consciousness very much like perception. What does it do? Okay. One understands pleasant. Notice I put brackets, it is, but in Pali it just says pleasant. One understands painful. One understands neutral, right? Or it is pleasant, it is painful, it is neutral. So in other words, you know what really is going on out there. 19.2. On account of a contact, here contact meaning just sense impression, sense experience, that is to be felt. Okay, here, this is one of the difficult translation. The Pali word is vedaniya. It translates to be felt, that which is to be felt, right? So this one, I think it's not in your translation, but you can edit in later on. On account of a contact that is to be felt as pleasant, there arises a pleasant feeling. Notice here, because the Buddha is talking about a mind that is a meditative mind, a calm, clear mind. So if you notice something out there, let's say a beautiful place, the Buddha sees Vesali is very beautiful, Then in his mind, he sees beauty. And then the Buddha himself would say, Vesali is beautiful. Okay, that's all, okay? There arises pleasant feeling. When one feels a pleasant feeling, one understands, I feel a pleasant feeling. One understands, with the cessation of that same contact that is felt as pleasant, whatever feeling arising from that is to be felt as pleasant, the contact arising conditioned by pleasant feeling, that too ceases, it is still. So the Buddha may say, oh, Vesali is beautiful, but the Buddha understands the feeling arises, it passes away. That's all, right? So the Buddha is not attached to it. Yes, it is beautiful, we have to live it, and we leave it behind and we move on. So here we can see that the Buddha, the Arahats, do experience beauty of the moment, but they're not attached to it. 19.3. On account of a contact that is to be felt as painful, there arises a painful feeling. When one feels a painful feeling, one understands, I feel a painful feeling. So here we see it as it is. We don't sugarcoat it or what. We acknowledge it. Painful feeling. One understands with the cessation of that same contact that is felt as painful, whatever feeling arising from that is to be felt as painful, the contact arising conditioned by painful feeling, that too ceases, that is still. The language here is very clear. If you are law student or lawyer, you look at it, you say, wow, yes, it's very clear. But simplify it simply means, okay, there is this painful feeling, right? So I see this, I feel sad. It's quite normal, right? And then it goes away, and that's the end of the feeling. So I don't carry the feeling with me. 19.4, on account of a contact that is to be felt as neither pain nor pleasure, there arises a neutral feeling, right? When neither of this, there is no feeling to be felt as pleasant, no feeling to be felt as painful. In other words, neither stimulus, then one feels a neutral feeling. One understands, I feel a neutral feeling, or I feel neither pleasant nor painful feeling. Then one understands when the source is normal there, then this neutral feeling also goes away. All right. So the feeling is gone, stilled, we say. All right. Now then the Buddha gives a parable of the fire sticks. Bhikshu, just as the touch and the rubbing together of two fire sticks were to generate heat and produce fire, and with the separation of these two fire sticks, the resulting heat ceases, it cools, right? So the Buddha explained what has been mentioned earlier on, all these things. He uses the parable of the two sticks making fire. This is used in India. So when you rub the sticks together, after a while you get heat and fire is produced. You must know what to do with all the tinder and so on. So here, two fire sticks, right? So here you have the sense faculty and then you have the object. These are the two things working together. So once one part is missing, then the whole thing won't work. So with all this understanding, the wise person has equanimity. So this is the next section, equanimity, section 20, equanimity. Further down, yeah. Okay, Wendy, further down. Yeah, okay. 20, then there remains only equanimity, pure and bright, malleable, pliable, radiant. Now this is a language of meditation already. So here, the Buddha is talking about when you meditate and you let go of all this feeling, whether pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral, equanimity arises. Here, equanimity refers to, is a broad term for samadhi, dhyana, which makes the mind pure and bright, malleable, pliable, radiant. Malleable, pliable is very important. In other words, this mind is such that you can use it to continue with your samatha practice, get jhana, or you can use it to practice vipassana, look at impermanence, right? So it is pliable. You can work with it. Sometimes the word kamaniya is used, workable. You know? Then there is the famous parable of the goldsmith. Our mind is like gold, so you are the smith, and you create all kinds of beautiful ornaments with it in your meditation. So this is the parable. Bhikshu, just as a skilled goldsmith or his apprentice were to prepare a furnace, having prepared it, he were to start a blaze at the furnace mouth. So this is meditation, right? This is a play on the word jhana. Jhana also means to burn. Eh? All right, so there's this furnace for burning away defilements. Having started the blaze using tongs, he were to place gold in a crucible in the furnace mouth, and from time to time he would blow on it. From time to time he would sprinkle water on it. From time to time he would just look on at it. So this again hinting at meditation, right? How you should do your meditation. Sometimes you just look on at it. Don't do anything, just look on. Like when you're doing your breath meditation, right? The fourth part especially, you just look on. The goal would become refined, well refined, completely refined, faultless, free of dross, free of impurities, dross, malleable, pliable, radiant. Notice the goal becomes workable. Then he makes whatever kind of ornaments he wishes as would serve his purpose. A gold chain or earrings or a necklace or a gold garland. Even so, Bhikshu, then there remains only equanimity, pure and bright, malleable, pliable, radiant. Right? So you see everything nicely put for the benefit of Pukusati. You got the teaching and the parable. Now the Buddha goes on higher. He says, okay, just now the Buddha is talking about indirectly the four form jhanas. Now the Buddha talks about the four formless jhanas. 21. He understands thus. If I were to direct the equanimity, thus pure, thus bright, to the sphere of infinite space, and were to cultivate my mind towards that state, then this equanimity of mind, supported by that sphere, holding on to it, will remain there for a very long time. So here the Buddha is saying, what happens when you direct your mind further into the formless meditation, for example, formless attainments, right? So you can go very deep there, and you can attain jhanas which are very long there. But there is a premonition here, a hint that if you're reborn there, your lifespan will be very long, okay? And then let me summarize the next three parts, the other three formless jhanas, right? Just read the highlighted bold words, second line. So the next one is the sphere of infinite consciousness, right? So how does one go from the first infinite space to infinite consciousness? When you are in the formless attainment of infinite space, then you let go of the idea of space. Consciousness is left, right? So you focus on consciousness, so you're in the sphere of infinite consciousness. This consciousness seems to be everywhere, infinite. Huh? It's the formless attainment. And then you gently let go of the watching the consciousness as object. Nothingness is left, right? So that's the formless attainment of nothingness. And then comes the third part, where you even let go of the object of nothingness. Nothingness is an object there, but now you let it go. There's nothing left. So it's called the sphere of neither perception nor non-perception. No object. It's so refined you cannot say there is consciousness or is no consciousness. So this is the fourth formless attainment, fourth formless dhyana, if you like. Then the Buddha continues. He's talking about how you can go even beyond this. 22. He understands thus, the meditator understands thus, if I were to direct this equanimity, thus pure, thus bright, to the sphere of infinite space and were to cultivate my mind towards the state, the formless jhana, it would be conditioned, right? So here the Buddha repeats, he says, okay, if you direct this equanimity, this wonderful peaceful mind to any of the four formless attainments, they will all still be conditioned. So here the Buddha is reminding, telling this Pukusati that even the highest levels of meditation, the four formless states, four formless jhanas, four formless attainments are also conditioned. In other words, they also don't last forever and they don't bring awakening. Okay. So the Buddha is going beyond that. Something's going to happen now. Get ready. No? Something dramatic is going to happen. 22.2. The Buddha continues, he neither constructs mental formations nor thinks in terms of being and non-being. Okay. So here is where you, in other words, you go beyond these conditioned states. So if you can go beyond that, then you free yourself from mental formations, from ideas, idea of existence, non-existence, and all kinds of views. Since he neither mentally constructs nor thinks in terms of being and non-being, he does not cling to anything in this world, especially in terms of ideas. He completely lets go of the world. Not clinging, he's not agitated. Not clinging, he's not troubled, not agitated. Not agitated, he himself attains nirvana for himself. The mind is calm and free. He understands thus, birth is destroyed, the holy life has been lived, done what is to be done, there is no more of this state, no more of this, in other words, this state of being. And then what happens? Now, this is not in the sutta, this added in the Sutta Discovery series. Pukusati recognizes the Buddha. So here is when it's been listening all this while. It says, oops, this is my teacher, this is the Buddha. But he can't say anything because he doesn't want to interrupt the Buddha teaching, so he quietly listens. But something bigger is going to happen, all right? So now the Buddha continues. The Buddha talks about the nature of feelings. If he feels a pleasant feeling, he understands that it is impermanent. He understands that it is not to be clung to. He understands that there is no delight in it. All right? What does this mean? How do we practice? Let me just give you a bit quick understanding here. Next time you feel happy, say, yeah, this is good. I feel happy. But even this wonderful feeling is impermanent. And then when you look at it again, this joy is even greater. And then it goes away. And then say, oh, this joyful feeling has gone away, right? And you still feel happy, right? In the sense that you know you have already enjoyed it. So you don't miss it. That's one simple way of practicing it. Same thing with painful feeling. If he feels a painful feeling, he understands that it is impermanent. He understands that it is not to be clung to. He understands that there is no delight in it. So this is an example of perception of impermanence, by the way. So painful feeling, same thing, right? Sometimes we feel some kind of pain, bodily pain, mental pain. This is pain. But always tell yourself, yes, it's very painful, but this is impermanent. It will go away. If he feels a neutral feeling, now notice you can say this in Pali, if he feels a neutral feeling, actually there's nothing to feel. Here the meaning is, you know, there is neither pain nor non-pain or grief. No? He understands this as it is, that it is impermanent. He understands that it is not to be clung to. He understands that there is no delight in it. Because sometimes this neutral feeling makes us feel bored, you know. So we say, okay, this will pass. It's impermanent. So summarize, the Buddha says in 24, If he feels a pleasant feeling, he feels it in a detached manner. If he feels a painful feeling, he feels it in a detached manner. If he feels a neutral feeling, he feels it in a detached manner. Detached, that means he watches it, he knows he's feeling it, but that's it. It comes, it goes. He doesn't own it. Okay, that's the meaning here. It means you experience it, but you don't own it. Okay. When he feels a feeling ending with the body, he understands, I feel a feeling ending with the body. Okay, this is a technical way of talking, very rare, but this is one of the few areas where the Buddha used this kind of words. Feeling ending with the body refers to any feeling arising from the 5 physical senses. Okay, so feeling that arises from seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, it comes, it goes. When he feels a feeling ending with life, he understands, I feel a feeling ending with life. Here is a mental feeling, any feeling that's mental feeling. So we don't take this literally. So with life, it means your feeling arising at the mind door. Okay, it's all in your notes, by the way. If the notes are not there, just ask for the latest version from right now from me. Okay, he understands. When the body is broken up after life has ended, all that is felt in which he delights not will cool down right here. When you see the word cool down, means attain nirvana, will cool down right here. Then the Buddha uses the famous parable of the lamp. Bhikshu, just as an oil lamp burns on account of oil and wick, and when the oil and wick are used up, if it does not get any more fuel, it is quenched from lack of fuel. This is a very famous parable for nirvana. The lamp can go out because the wick goes into the oil, the wick burns out, no more oil, or the lamp is broken, right? So that's the example of attaining nirvana. Even so, Bhikshu, when he feels a feeling ending with the body, he understands, I feel a feeling ending with the body, meaning physical feeling. And when he feels a feeling ending with life, he understands, I feel a feeling ending with life, which is mental feeling. He understands, when the body is broken up after life has ended, all that is felt in which he delights not will cool down right here. Therefore, such an accomplished bhikshu, such an accomplished monk, is one accomplished in the supreme foundation of wisdom. For this bhikshu is the supreme noble wisdom, that is to say, the knowledge of the ending of all suffering. So pupil is listening very carefully. So that's the first foundation. Now the second foundation, 26. This liberation of his founded on truth is unshakable. For bhikshu, that which has a deceptive nature is false. That which has an undeceptive nature, nirvana, is true. Therefore, such an accomplished monk is one accomplished in the supreme foundation of truth. For this bhikshu is the supreme noble truth. That is to say, nirvana has an undeceptive nature, right? So here the Buddha is bringing back what he mentioned earlier, right? The 4 foundations. Then the third foundation, letting go. 27. Formerly, as an ordinary whirling, when one was ignorant, one was preoccupied with and indulging in birth bases, acquisitiveness. Here, birth bases are those things we collect, which only brings us more suffering and rebirth. For example, Buddhists, we say, okay, avoid bad karma, do good karma. When you do good karma, you still bring rebirth, you see. But in the case of the Arhat, even this good karma is no more there, so he doesn't have any more rebirth, no more birth bases. Birth bases, anything that brings you rebirth. Now one has abandoned them, cut them off at the root, made them like a palm tree stump, done away with them so that they are not subject to further growth. No more rebirth, no more suffering. Therefore, such an accomplished monk is one accomplished in the supreme foundation of letting go. So this is the real meaning of renunciation, letting go. You let go of all this, whatever brings rebirth and suffering. For bhikshu, for this bhikshu, is the supreme noble letting go, that is to say, the letting go of all birthplaces. And then now the Buddha goes on to the last one, the fourth foundation, peace. Formerly, as ordinary wielding, when one was ignorant, one felt covetous, desire, lust. Now one has abandoned them. One has cut them off at the root, made them like a palm tree stump, done away with them so that they are not subject to further growth. So here the Buddha is talking about this person who sees in this way, letting go of all things that bring rebirth. He has overcome all the three roots. Number one, desire, all gone, cut, uprooted, no more returning of all these unwholesome roots. And then the next one, 3.2, previously we were ignorant and we have a lot of anger, hate, all right, second root, all that uprooted. Then further down, 28.3, formerly when one was ignorant, one experienced ignorance and delusion. Notice both ignorance, delusion are mentioned here, not just delusion. Because ignorance is the latent tendency, delusion is the root. All these are gone. They don't come back. No more roots that are unwholesome or even wholesome, because this person is becoming an arahat. 28.4. Therefore, such an accomplished monk is one accomplished in the supreme foundation of peace. That is, for this bhikshu, is a supreme noble peace, that is to say, the stilling of lust, hate, and delusion. Right. So finally, the Buddha mentions the three roots, right? Lust, hate, delusion. So this is one definition of awakening. So this is what wisdom is, basically. It's what the Buddha is saying. Now, the Buddha talks about this arahat, called the sage at peace, section 30. Those who stand on them, that is the four foundations of wisdom, truth, letting go, and peace, do not go with the flow of mental conceiving. In other words, views don't drag them along. Not flowing with mental conceiving, one is called a sage at peace. The word sage is used because the mind is peaceful and silent, real peace. So it is said. And in what connection is this said? How do you define this sage at peace? Bhikshu, I am, this is a mental conceiving. I am this is a mental conceiving. I will be is a mental conceiving. I will not be is mental conceiving. I will consist of form is a mental conceiving. I will be formless, mental conceiving. I will be percipient or conscious, mental perceiving. I will be non-percipient, it's also mental conceiving. I'll be neither percipient nor non-percipient, also mental conceiving. So here what the Buddha is saying is, whether you're worldly or you attain deep meditation, if you identify with it and you think this is what you want, this is what you are, this is what you want to be, those are all mental conceiving. So the sage who is at peace doesn't think in those ways. His mind is totally free. 31.2. Mental conceiving, bhikshu, is a sickness. Mental conceiving is a tumor. Mental conceiving is a dart. It brings suffering, basically. So by overcoming all this mental conceiving, bhikshu he is called a sage at peace. And a sage at peace is not born, does not age, does not die. He is unshaken, unagitated. For there is nothing present in him by which he might be born. Not being born, how could he age? Not aging, how could he die? Not dying, how could he be shaken? Not shaken, how could he be agitated? Right, so the Buddha summarizes everything and says, okay, right, so remember this brief analysis of the elements. Okay, so remember, we started at section 7.3 just now. So the teaching ends here. Now the teaching has ended. Of course, Pukusati can talk. No? Okay, let's see what Pukusati says now. Because now he realized he's a different person now, in many ways. Right? 33. Then the Venerable Pukusati said, "Indeed, the teacher has come to me." So this one he thought did not say loudly yet. "Indeed, the teacher has come to me. Indeed, the welfarer has come to me. Indeed, the fully self-awake one has come to me." So this is his lion roar. So the Buddha has come to me. Very happy, Then he rose from his seat, arranged his upper robe over one shoulder, and bowed with his hand at the Blessed One's feet. And then he said this to the Blessed One: "A transgression has overcome me, Bhante." So he apologizes. He said, I'm sorry. Just as one foolish, as one confused, as one unskillful, as to have presumed to address the Blessed One as Avuso. Bhante, now he calls the Buddha Bhante, notice, "May the Blessed One accept my transgression as a transgression so that I may show restraint henceforth." So he says, "I'm sorry, so please accept my apology." The Buddha says, "Yes, Bhikshu, you have transgressed just as a one confused, as one unskillful in having addressed me as Avuso." Notice the Buddha doesn't pretend to say, "Oh, it's okay," he doesn't talk like that. He actually just tells things as they are. "But Bhikshu, since you see your transgression as a transgression and you make amends in accordance with the Dhamma, we accept it." So here the Buddha says we accept it because you are doing it in the right way. And there's a benefit to that. For Bhikshu, it is progress in the discipline of the noble ones when seeing a transgression as a transgression, in other words, seeing something wrong as something wrong, one makes amends in accordance with the Dharma and shows restraint henceforth. So this is how we confess in Buddhism. You know something is wrong, you confess it either before a Buddha image or even to yourself, and then you don't do it again. Or of course you can confess to the person you have wronged, and then you correct yourself. Then he requests to be a monk. "Bhante, may I receive the full ordination before the Blessed One?" The Buddha replies, "But Bhikshu, are your robe and bowl complete? Do you have bowl and robe ready?" "No, Bhante, my robe and bowl are not complete." "Bhikshu, the Tathagata, the Buddha does not admit anyone who is not complete in regards to robe and bowl." So he has to look for his robe and bowl now. No? So by the time it's morning already, I suppose. So he goes out to look for robe and bowl. Now he has become a non-returner, by the way. Okay. So he's going out to look for his robe and bowl. Then the Venerable Pukusati, rejoicing and approving of the Blessed One's word, rose from his seat, saluted the Blessed One, keeping his right side to the Blessed One. He left to look for the robe and bowl. Then, while the Venerable Pukusati was looking for the robe and bowl, and a mock cow killed him. Right? So here we see the story is very short and direct here in the sutta. This will happen. A cow comes along and kills him. So his past karma ripened. So there's another story. Long ago, he was a young man and he molested an innocent girl, and this girl got very upset and angry and kind of said he would take revenge. He would come and get him, So this karma is such that it comes back and it's all cleared away. And of course, Pukusati is not troubled by this. He passes away as a non-returner. It's not mentioned much in the sutta about this, but the commentary tells us he passes away, he becomes a non-returner, and he is reborn in the pure abodes, and upon being reborn there, he becomes an arahat. So now we come to the conclusion. 35. Then some bhikshus approached the Blessed One, and having approached the Blessed One, They saluted him and sat down at one side. Sitting thus at one side, the monks said this to the Blessed One: Bhante, the son of family Pukusati, who was given a brief instruction by the Blessed One, has died. What is his destiny? What is his future course? So what happened to him? So the monks are curious. No? Bhikshus, wise is the son of family Pukusati, who practiced in accordance with the Dhamma, and who did not trouble me in regards to the points of Dhamma. Bhikshu, the son of family Pukusati, with the destruction of the 5 lower fetters, is one spontaneously born. So the Sutta only says spontaneously born, upapatika. And here we know, for the benefit of readers like you, it's reborn in the pure abodes, and has attained nirvana there without ever returning from that world. Okay. Now, if you look at other translation, they follow grammar and says and will attain. But if you look at the commentaries, it's clearly stated that upon arriving in the pure abodes, he becomes an arahat. In other words, when the Buddha is speaking about Pukusati, he's already reborn in the pure abodes. He's already an arahat. So we have to refer to him in the past. Right? So he has attained nirvana there without ever returning from that world. But he's still an arahat. Okay, so I mean, he's not dead, but he's there living in the pure abodes as an arahat. The Blessed One said this, satisfied the monks rejoice in the Blessed One's word. So that's the story of Pukusati, someone who has never met the Buddha before. He looks for the teacher and then hears the teaching, recognizes the teacher because of the teaching, and becomes a non-returner, and then he dies within a short period of being a monk. In fact, he never became a monk. He was not ordained at all. Okay, he listens, he practices, he becomes a non-returner. So he's a returner layman, technically. And he dies, becomes an arahat upon being reborn in the pure abodes. It's an amazing, beautiful story. So I hope you all enjoyed it as I enjoyed teaching you. Okay, you have about less than 20 minutes for questions.
Okay, thank you, Brother Piya, for explaining the sutta. I'll pass over the Q&A session to Sister Isim now.
Okay, Isim.
Thank you, Sister Wendy. Thank you, Brother Piya, for the sutta teaching. Let me read out the first question from Sister Ratna. Yeah. Para 22.3. What is the difference between the Arhat review knowledge and the non-returners review knowledge? Thanks.
Paragraph which one? 20?
22.3.
22.3. Okay. So difference between Arhat's review knowledge and
the non-returners review knowledge.
Oh, here the Arhat's review knowledge is that he gets awakened first, becomes an Arahat, and then he looks back, so okay, this is what happened. I'm now an Arahat. So that's a review knowledge. And review knowledge is, that's why after our meditation notice, I always tell you review, right? So that is reflecting the situation. We look back, review, okay, how have I done, you know? So as a rule, all practitioners will review their practice. Right? And in a sense also, that's how they know their attainment, through review knowledge. Pacavekana jnana, okay? There are, of course, difference. In the case of the non-returner, you will review, you look back, it says, oh, okay, looks like I have broken these 5 fetters, so he knows all that. So that is the non-returner's review knowledge. Right? So it's a broad term. You can refer to any situation. Even for us also, we have to practice review knowledge. So of course, in our case, since we are unawakened, we review, say, oops, I saw little that I know, I better know more, better study more, practice more, okay? So that's the purpose of review knowledge. Okay.
Thank you, Brother Piya. At the moment, there's no more question in the chat box.
I have, can I ask?
Yes, please.
Yes, yes.
This one, the 6 elements, that is a kaya nupasana. That it is actually, it's a whole story of the Satipatthana Sutta. Yeah.
Is that a question?
Yeah, like the 6 elements that
Yes.
is describing about the kaya nupasana,
Okay.
and then about the feeling that is about the Vedana nupasana.
Yes.
And then in the end, that was about this that were
Dhamma.
all about, yeah, dhamma nupasana, yeah, all in all. And then it was saying that you have to look at it as non-self anatta.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
As anatta, and it is by condition.
Yeah, correct. So that's what the Buddha was teaching Pukusati. He says, you should not own any of these things, not I, not me, not mine.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is the anatta, that is the non-self anatta. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, in a sense, I was going, yeah, thank you for raising this, because you can see this teaching to Pukusati as a kind of alternate Satipatthana Sutta. It's a kind of Satipatthana Sutta in a different form,
Exactly.
a more relaxed form. You know, the patterns are very similar here. So, but this is because the Buddha is teaching this new person, so he doesn't use the word for Satipatthana in that way. The word Satipatthana is not used, the word Adhitthana is used instead.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. You noticed that, huh?
Brother Piya, this one is Dhatu Vibhanga. That's why it was also this Dhatu, this 6 element. It emphasized a lot about this element. That's why it's called the Dhatu Vibhanga. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So in a sense, the whole sutta is Dhatu, but given in different treatments. It starts off with the 6 elements, and then from there you find the Buddha approaches a different way, right? So it's very interesting to see how the teaching method of the Buddha, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the other way around, huh?
Correct. So and you get the effect here. You see this Pukusati listens and it becomes non-returner. Okay. Anyway, he's ready, see, because his karma is such. The story goes that in the previous life, there were, I think, 6 monks, So they took a kind of vow, because they look around, they say, oh, the Dhamma is not real practice, there's no Dhamma here. So they went up this rock on the top of it, and so they take a vow that they're going to practice until they attain awakening. I think 2 or 3 of them managed to attain Arahathood, but this Pukusati in that past life didn't, and then he died of starvation, and then he's reborn in this life as a king. So in other words, you see in the case of Pukusati, he was a monk in a past life, and then earlier before that, he was a rather bad young man. So you see him changing over different lives. So he has built himself this very good karma. So, and that good karma ripens by him meeting the Buddha in his last life. So that's what we are doing now as we study the suttas, we practice whatever we can. Even though when you sit in your meditation, you find a lot of distractions, but you are making that effort. And none of this effort will go to waste. Remember, even by doing nothing, sitting here, you are still keeping the 5 precepts. You have still taken the 3 refuges. So those are really wonderful things. All right. So we are preparing ourselves for that wonderful situation when the right time comes for our wisdom to ripen. Okay.
Yeah, this sutta has a lot to do with the meditation. I remember. Okay.
But remember, in this case, the Buddha is talking all the way, and this Pukusati is listening very calmly. And just by listening, he attains non-returning. That's the amazing thing, right? So he's in a kind of meditative, not complete, but a kind of calm, attentive state.
Yeah.
So in many ways, of course, when you're meditating, you'll be hearing all these things. So we do get into this kind of state where you are calm. It's something like, we call it excess concentration, not yet fully jhana or fully focused. You're calm, undistracted, but you're able to listen directly, very clearly to the teaching. Completely focused in the good that we are doing. That's the meaning here. Okay.
Brother Piya, there's a question from Brother Cohen Kuya.
Yes.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Brother Piya, a practitioner who attains the fourth form jhana or the fourth formless attainment, but yet not enlightened or liberated. How to explain this, and what else does the practitioner need to do or practice upon attainment of form jhana or formless attainments in order to cross the shore? Thanks and metta.
Okay, attaining jhana alone, whether form jhana or formless jhana, does not guarantee awakening. It's what you do with it. All right. So the purpose of deep meditation jhana is to get a clear mind, and it's a bright mind. I'm working on a series of brief history of the meditation masters today in Burma and in Thailand. There's a lot of talk about this getting into deep meditation, all right, jhana, formless meditation even, or even simple sitting calmly. Then when you get into this deep, calm state of concentration, you come out of it, your mind is still calm and clear, and that's when you use that mind to reflect on impermanence. That's how you expedite reaching the path. That's how you make your journey faster and more accurate. You go directly to the path in that sense. So in order to really reflect on impermanence, you've got to get to the calm state first. So this is the ideal practice now. Otherwise, at any time, like even now, you see, you can reflect, okay, you know, we're reaching the end of this sutta, even this sutta study, even a gathering like this has to end. So you reflect that way also. That's part of the natural process of things. But at the same time, in order to see impermanence more deeply, you look at the four elements. We are the four elements: earth, water, fire, wind, and you see how they are impermanent, right? Earth, head, hair, body hair, nails, teeth, skin. This all they arise, they fall away. You see all this debris and dust all around you. Much of it comes from our body. It's all impermanent. So you reflect, you use that calm, clear mind coming out of samadhi, or not yet fully focused, not yet fully in samadhi, but you're very calm. You use that kind of mind to reflect on impermanence. Okay. So in other words, when you're doing your meditation, you come out of it, you're still peaceful. That's the time to reflect on impermanence. Okay. So instead of doing that what's called review, you can do it, use it for reflecting on impermanence also. So that it's quite versatile. Yeah? So I hope that answers the question. Okay, 5 more minutes.
Brother Piya.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. That's the question from the chat box at the moment.
All right.
Good.
I'm happy I finished this sutta. It was quite long. I thought that, you know, I might not be able to finish it. We might have to do it over 2 sessions. So do look at it again. Look at the notes in front. There's so many interesting things you can read about the past life of Pukusati. Yeah, he was a king in Afghanistan. Afghanistan at one time was a very strong Buddhist area, but they're more like they're going into the Mahayana side. But we have this King King the Kushans. The Kushans are foreigners, they're not Indians. So they patronize all the religions, you know, so many religions were kind of side by side. So Buddhism, the Buddhists got influenced by a lot of other religions. And then that's how Mahayana arose in the Kushan Empire, which is Afghanistan area and further north. That's where Pukusati comes from. Okay. Any more questions coming in?
Brother Piya, can you hear me?
Sure.
Okay. Okay. One thing I wanted to sort of share and ask for your perspective, perhaps. I read that there is a sutta in which the Buddha describes that the consciousness of nirvana as consciousness without surface, or consciousness
what? Sorry. Do that again.
That in a sutta, Buddha
consciousness without
surface, consciousness that does not land anywhere, consciousness aware of itself.
Without support, is it?
Yes, like it doesn't. He gives a simile that imagine a ray of a sunlight, and that sunlight does not fall on any surface, and there is just no surface, no water, no air, no land, and it is just there, aware of itself. And similarly, I think read or heard in some dhamma talks of some Thayajans that they basically suggest or hint at the deathless element or nibbana as awareness itself, not like our sense consciousness, but like just plain awareness. So yeah, I thought let me just ask your perspective on.
Okay, the Buddha sometimes speaks in terms of consciousness. What happens to consciousness in an arahat? Here, the language, that is the thing, you know. Sometimes we read too much into the language, especially Westerners who are so used to the soul idea. So they say, oh, the Buddha said, the consciousness does not find any support. In other words, the consciousness still exists. So the person is in nirvana, but consciousness still exists. I don't think we can find any reference for that. The Buddha is saying there is no consciousness to find that support. It's not that this consciousness does not find a support. There is no consciousness to find the support. All right? Because the consciousness only arises when there is this support. All right? So it's a language problem. It's not a teaching problem. So here there is no more chance of this consciousness re-arising by way of rebirth. That's the meaning here. So for the arahat, all those places that there are bases for rebirth in all the realms, all the 31 planes, there's nothing more for this arahat. Now, if there's no more such a plane, what consciousness can you talk about? See? So if you say there is this consciousness that exists outside of these planes, and then we're talking about this like a Brahminical Brahman, you know, right? We don't have such idea in early Buddhism either. So there is no more support for consciousness. Probably is a better way of saying it. There's no more support for consciousness. Consciousness will not be reborn. That's the meaning here. So the sunlight may fall, but then there is, when the sunlight goes into space, it doesn't fall anywhere. It just goes into space and disappear. Okay. So here, of course, we must not take the parable too seriously. What do you call it? We must not make it into a thing. We must not say, oh, the ray is still there, you see, right? So they use that as an excuse for belief in the soul. That's not the point of the parable. The parable is the touching that is the point of the parable. The sunlight shines into space but doesn't land anywhere, right? So it doesn't land anywhere. That's the idea. It's not that the sunlight exists, okay? If you like, you can say, oh, okay, the sunlight represents the Buddhas that keep coming, teaching us, and that's fine. But if you say there is this permanent soul, then you create a problem with all the other teachings that we have been studying in early Buddhism. Okay, all right, that's interesting feedback. Huh? Okay, I think time's up, right? Okay, right. That's weekend
Wow.
smile.
Yeah.
That's a nice. Hope you have a good weekend, everyone. Okay.
1, 2,
Piya.
3, smile.
Yeah, smile. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right. Okay, let us spend a quiet moment to close this study. We have today gathered together once again to recite the refuges and precepts, to some meditation, and listen to the Dhamma, to the wonderful Sutta on the Dhatu Vibhanga. So remember this moment of peace. Remember this Pukusati had all this wonderful good karma ripening, and he just by listening, he attained this non-returning and then became an arahat. So we are building up all this good karma so that even in this life itself, we can be happy. We might not know it, but we are going along this peaceful way. We have this chance. The fact that you can come here and join us once every 2 weeks, spend 2 hours here, just listening to Dhamma is testimony that's really good and amazing. You can sit quietly, peacefully. Not many people can do that. And wisdom will grow in you. So reflect on all these wonderful things, the chance for us to be in touch with the Buddha Dhamma. And by all these good deeds we have done, may you be well and happy. May I be well and happy. May our relatives and loved ones to be well and happy. May there be peace in Europe and in the world. And send all your loving kindness to all the people who matter to you right now. And finally, let us close by showing our gratitude to the three jewels, the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagawa, Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi. Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami. Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Sanghang Namami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Right, so have a good weekend, everyone. Stay healthy, eat well, eat moderately. If you have food advice, ask Ratna how to eat well as vegan, vegetarian. Okay.
Thank you. Have a nice weekend, Ratna, Sister Ratna.
You too.
Brother Piya. Thank
Thank you, Brother
Yeah,
Piya,
thank
Sister